The mighty Panama Canal, once an unshakable force in global trade, is now gasping for survival. Drought-stricken, overburdened, and facing an audacious $4.5 billion rival, Mexico's radical shipping solution threatens to rewrite history. But is this the beginning of a trade revolution, or just another high-stakes gamble? The truth behind this epic power shift will shock you. Let's uncover the mystery. For over a century, the Panama Canal has been the undisputed gateway between the Pacific and Atlantic Oceans. Every year, thousands of ships pass through its locks, cutting weeks off their journeys and saving billions in fuel costs. But that dominance is now being threatened like never before. The culprit? A brutal combination of worsening droughts and skyrocketing toll fees. The canal depends on fresh water from Lake Gatun, but climate change has shrunk water levels to historic lows. In recent months, ships have been forced to wait weeks or pay exorbitant fees just to pass. Some have even abandoned the canal altogether, seeking alternative routes. The situation is so dire that even the United States has expressed concern. Former President Donald Trump recently made headlines by suggesting the U.S. should retake control of the Panama Canal due to unfair treatment of American vessels. Meanwhile, global shippers are looking for alternatives. And that's where Mexico steps in. The rise of Mexico's mega project. Deep in the heart of Mexico, a seismic shift in global trade is unfolding, one that could disrupt the status quo forever. At the center of this transformation lies the interoceanic corridor of the Isthmus of Tehuantepec, a project so ambitious it's being dubbed the new trade highway of the Americas. Unlike the Panama Canal's aging lock system, Mexico's game-changing plan is based on speed and efficiency, leveraging a state-of-the-art rail corridor. Imagine colossal cargo ships unloading in record time, their goods whisked across the country by high-speed trains, and reloaded onto vessels waiting to set sail on the opposite coast. No water restrictions, no long delays, just streamlined, uninterrupted trade. Spanning 188 miles across Mexico's narrowest landmass, this project includes cutting-edge logistics hubs, modernized ports, and the latest in transportation technology. It's a bold challenge to the Panama Canal's century-old dominance, promising a faster, cheaper, and climate-proof alternative to global shippers desperate for reliability. And as the world grapples with worsening supply chain crises, one question looms large. Is this Mexico's moment to seize control of global trade? Unlike the Panama Canal, which requires ships to navigate through a complex system of locks, Mexico's alternative is built around an entirely different concept, a high-speed rail corridor. Instead of ships sailing from one ocean to the other, containers will be offloaded, transported by train across Mexico's narrowest landmass, and reloaded onto waiting ships on the other side. The project spans 188 miles across the Isthmus of Tehuantepec, Mexico's shortest land bridge between the Pacific and the Gulf of Mexico. It will feature modernized ports, high-speed rail, and cutting-edge logistics hubs, all designed to move cargo faster, cheaper, and without the water restrictions plaguing the Panama Canal. The timing of Mexico's bold move is no coincidence. It's a strategic strike at the heart of global shipping vulnerabilities. As the Panama Canal chokes under worsening droughts and surging toll fees, Mexico is stepping up with a fixed-cost, weatherproof alternative that could rewrite the global trade map. Shippers worldwide are desperate for reliability. The once trusted Panama Canal, now plagued by water shortages, has become a logistical nightmare. Waiting times stretch for weeks, costs skyrocket, and some vessels are left with no choice but to detour thousands of miles. The urgency for a Plan B has never been greater. Mexico's interoceanic corridor arrives at precisely the right moment. This isn't just about challenging the Panama Canal, it's about reshaping the arteries of global commerce. With China, the US, and Europe all hunting for alternative routes, Mexico's geographic position makes it an irresistible trade hub. But there's more at play than logistics. Economic power shifts are unfolding, and this corridor could be Mexico's golden ticket to elite status in global trade. With rising investments and geopolitical shifts on the horizon, the question isn't just whether Mexico can compete, it's whether the world can afford to ignore it. This project isn't just about competing with the canal, it's about reshaping global supply chains. With China, the US, and Europe all looking for more resilient trade routes, Mexico's position as a logistics hub is more valuable than ever. Before we continue, please subscribe to join and support us. Can this rival truly compete? The billion-dollar question looms. Can Mexico's rail corridor truly rival the legendary Panama Canal? At first glance, a rail-based system seems inherently limited. After all, transferring containers between ships and trains is time-consuming, and trains can't match the sheer volume of cargo that colossal shipping vessels can carry. Yet, this project thrives in a world starved for alternatives. With the Panama Canal gridlocked by climate-induced water shortages and ballooning costs, shippers are desperate for a plan B. The Mexican corridor may not replace the canal entirely, but it could siphon off enough cargo to disrupt long-standing shipping routes. There's also the matter of speed and predictability. Rail transport isn't at the mercy of fluctuating water levels. No lock systems to navigate. No days-long queues. Just a straightforward land-based transfer system designed for efficiency. Still, skeptics argue that the canal's infrastructure is unmatched, with over 14,000 vessels and 8 million TEUs passing through annually. Can Mexico realistically divert enough traffic to shake up the industry? The answer depends on one key factor: how much disruption the world is willing to tolerate before it embraces an alternative. One thing is clear: this isn't just a logistical experiment, it's a high-stakes challenge to a century-old monopoly. The shift may already be underway. Critics argue that while the Mexican corridor might take some pressure off the Panama Canal, it won't be able to fully replace it. The canal handles about 14,000 vessels and over 8 million TEUs, 20-foot equivalent units, annually. While Mexico's corridor is expected to move a significant fraction of this traffic, it may not be enough to dethrone Panama altogether. Still, the project has one major advantage. It exists in a world that desperately needs alternatives. With the Red Sea crisis, Suez Canal bottlenecks, and climate-induced disruptions, global shippers are increasingly looking for Plan B. The economic and geopolitical ripple effect. The interoceanic corridor isn't just about trade, it's about power. By positioning itself as a viable alternative to Panama, Mexico is forcing global players to take notice. The US, China, and European nations have all expressed interest in investing in the project. China, in particular, has been eyeing this development closely. As a major investor in Latin American infrastructure, China sees Mexico's project as a way to secure alternative routes for its goods, bypassing the increasingly unstable Panama Canal. If China's involvement deepens, the geopolitical implications could be enormous. For Mexico, the benefits are clear: massive foreign investment, new jobs, and a stronger position in global trade negotiations. The project is also expected to boost economic development in historically underdeveloped southern Mexico, creating new industries along its route. So, does Mexico's $4.5 billion megaproject signal the end of the Panama Canal's reign? Not quite, at least not yet. But it does mark the beginning of a new chapter in global trade. And as the world's supply chains continue to shift, one thing is clear: the battle for the future of global trade has only just begun. Will the interoceanic corridor rise to challenge the mighty Panama Canal? Or will it become just another ambitious project lost to history? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Subscribe for more deep dives into the biggest stories shaping our future.